Hey everyone, I'm the Chosen One Legend here, as always joined by my co-host,
Hi, I'm Kai, also known as Fascurreyn.
and welcome back to the Bunch of Jokers, where, as you can see, you've probably seen the video title, we are here ranking the Nintendo Switch catalogue. Which, why, you may ask? Because we couldn't think of anything better to do, mostly. But if we are to give it some justification, we are at the end of the Switch's life cycle now. We've got like two or three big-ish games coming, but other than that, it's over. So this is sort of the perfect time to look back at the Switch's library and maybe give it a little go on what we think the game's order could be based on the ones we've played. Do you think it's going to be easy, Kai? I don't know.
Um, I really don't know, to be honest. It's going to be
Hmm.
interesting, just the sheer amount of games there are. Like, we might surprise ourselves with how few or many we've played.
Yeah.
And yeah, I've never really thought about comparing a lot of these, so it'll be very interesting to see where they end up and what this ends up looking like.
Definitely, and I'll just do the quick preface this at the start that we're using a specific tier list we found that I'll link down below. It has 190 games, but we're only ranking the 50 or so that we've actually played, otherwise it'd be kind of pointless. This seems to include basically the first party and second party Nintendo games, plus some third party ones that were like temporarily exclusives and stuff, associated with the console basically. And it could be missing some, but hey ho, we deal with what we've got, and it's all our opinions, and even that will likely change. If we did this again in a year's time, we'd probably get a completely different list because I'm just
Yeah.
that fickle, honestly. But I think that's pretty much it. So without further ado, Kai, do you want you? We're recording your screen here, so what's the first game that we have up on your list?
Well, mine are all in, I think, alphabetical order still, so probably best if you like give me a game and I'll find it.
Sure thing. Okay, well, the first one up for here for me is actually the first Switch game, which is One Two Switch. Have you played this one, Kai?
Ah, yeah. Yeah, I this was the first Switch game I ever played. I got this and Breath of the Wild on launch.
I mean, I got my Switch arrived, and Breath of the Wild was like a few days late, so I only had this to play for a few days. So I spent my time on it, and I think it's a fun novelty, but it's not much more than that. I guess. Do you agree with that sort of analysis?
Yeah, it's a nice little party game that you might play once or twice, but it is simple. I mean, I like it because it kind of this is going to be a drastic comparison, but you know how Astrobot was so good because it showed off what the controller is all about on the
Yeah,
PlayStation 5.
yeah.
This is kind of the same thing for the Switch. You know, all the things like the little motion bits inside the controller with the game where you have to guess like how many
Mm.
balls are in the box or something. The kind of like motion controls being like, hey, this is better than the Wii, trust me. All of that was actually really good. So I will say, as much as the game doesn't have much depth, I don't think it's meant to, and I actually think it's quite impressive in terms of what it did do. Obviously,
Yeah,
it's not going to live up to the reputation of things like Wii Sports or whatever, but I think it's good.
nothing will come close to the just oddity of the milking game. Like that alone is just a novelty. I'm not sure we should have, but it's there. So on humor alone, I feel like this maybe a C. Do you think a C's right?
I'm okay with that. You know, we can always adjust.
Yeah,
We've got some big hitters coming up, but yeah, I think it's good for what it does. But it's
I
not
just
designed to be a top tier game, is it?
exactly. It does its job, but it's nothing more than that. So C's like, hey, that's good. So next game up, and I suppose I have Animal Crossing, which
Mm-hmm.
interesting because I mean it released at like the perfect time. It was incredible for its moment, but I fell off it pretty quick afterwards. I'm kind of veering towards like a B, kind of based on that.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. Obviously a great core idea. The terraforming in the game is huge.
Yeah.
Some nice seasonal events. It is the most polished Animal Crossing in terms of like visuals and everything. The music's great. It's got a lot going for it, and it's clear to see why it's one of the best-selling games on the Switch. My issue with it is, like you said, there isn't a lot of replayability for some places and people. I mean, I am a very like I struggle with the creative side of things, making a cool idea for an island. I really
Hmm.
struggle with the inspiration, so I started to do some terraforming stuff and, making cool bits, and then I lost interest pretty quickly. Same with like the interior designer. For creatives, this is easily an S tier game.
Yeah.
But for me, who's like more interested in different genres and particularly like I wanted to do this for multiplayer, and the multiplayer you can't do anything with others. You've just got to sit and wait for everyone
I
to fly in for 15 minutes. It's kind of
I
like
think
meh.
if it had better support, this would be easily an A. But I think because it lacked that continuous support it needed, like the updates after the first few were kind of naff. So I feel like based on that, B is where I'm thinking, unless you want to push it higher.
I'm okay with that for now. Again, a lot of people will definitely disagree, and for creatives it's an S tier, but for us, just maybe not so much. It does lack sort of a
Yeah,
sense of interactivity.
let's stick it there then. Next up, this is just a me game. Some of these are ones only one of us have played, and Kai, maybe you should play this one day. Astral Chain. Come on, man.
D
Put it
tier.
in A.
No.
It-
Is it A? A for Astral
it's A.
Chain? Okay.
Exactly. I can't put it any. I want to put it in S, kind of, but that's almost just S for spite because I'm spiteful. You haven't played it yet, so let's stick it in A. Pretty solid game, a lot of fun, and it's quite unique. So I think it deserves its spot. But
Yeah, I'm okay
next
with that. I mean, there's a lot to see with that one. I'm sure we'll address it eventually.
one day you'll talk about it on stream, Kai. One day, or podcast. But until then, did you play Luigi's Mansion 3?
No.
Okay, that's just a me game then, and lots of people love this one. I'm I'm gonna say B for it. I think sort of lowish B, maybe mid B, whatever. It's fine. It's fun. It's like one of the best looking games on the Switch, no doubt. Like, and the sort of next level games, of course, have their personality of Luigi down to like the perfect level. But I don't know. I just think it was fun, but I didn't leave a lasting impression. So I think B's about where it belongs.
Okay, yeah, no worries. I'll put it in there.
Okay, I'm looking at my list now, and I'm realizing I've got a long list of games I've played, so I'm going to skip ahead to one. Kai, you played Pokemon Sword, and I did not. So what do you think of
I
that?
did.
You do that
Yeah,
sometimes.
so I played Pokemon Sword.
Hmm.
I played it, I think it was basically on launch. Not far off it anyway.
Yeah.
And obviously, Pokemon Sword got a lot of hardship, let's say. It's like, wow, first Pokemon game on the Switch, and it struggles in places visually and design-wise. There were definitely some issues with it.
Yeah.
I don't think it's that bad. I mean, it still follows the classic Pokemon formula. Um, it works as a game. I enjoyed it. I did play it all the way through, as well as the post game. Um, I honestly thought the difficulty was actually kind of good. It wasn't too hard, but wasn't too easy either, especially when you get to things like the Battle Tower.
Hmm.
Um, it obviously, I'm not using my words today. It does struggle from a development perspective that we all know about with Pokemon and Game Freak and times and whatever. And that is very evident, but I wouldn't say it was a D tier game like a lot of people might claim.
Yes.
Is it on the level of Animal Crossing? Probably not. I think personally I'd place this at the top of C tier.
Yeah. That's
Just because
reasonable.
it doesn't innovate much, and does struggle in places, but I wouldn't say it's bad.
No. Yeah, I've only watched a bit of someone play it. I don't even remember that was sealed version. It makes not much difference. But it was like, yeah, it's fine. It's Pokemon. It's what you want. It's not really pushing the boundaries. But hey ho, C tier, like that C tier's still good. To be clear, like that's still a good game. So I
Yeah,
think
I
that's
agree. It's
reasonable.
still good.
Next one, I've got two here from me, which are Bayonetta 1 and 2. And I honestly, like,
Okay.
it's been a while since I played these. I don't think they're as good as Astral Chain. Like, Platinum games still, but they've got definitely their personality, but I don't think they hit as well. Bayonetta 1, I think, is very clunky and hasn't aged well with its QuickTime events. So I say throw that one in C, whereas I think 2 makes necessary improvements and is just a really solid game all around. So I'd put that sort of highish B. Yeah, that's pretty much B
Okay.
for Bayonetta 2, I suppose.
B for
And
Bayonetta 2, but not B for Bayonetta 1, to be clear.
no, C for
Okay.
I can't really enjoy Bayonetta 1 as much. There you go. I'm not going to make up one of these for
Okay,
every
brilliant.
game, or we'll be here a while. But here's another one for you, Kai. Miitopia.
Ooh, okay. That's an interesting one.
It is.
Yeah, I mean, you saw this, like, I mean, obviously I did some bits
Mm,
off screen, but the large majority was on screen, which you saw.
yeah,
Man, what a good game, and in particular, what a good remake, because of course this is originally a 3DS game,
of
um,
course.
but not only was it brought over nicely with all the existing stuff, everything that was new was really good. The visual improvements were brilliant, and especially like some of the bits in the gameplay, like the horse now being a character, just to give you a little bit extra oomph.
Yeah,
Um, and on top of everything else, the new character creator to make your own Miis. I mean, who would have thought we'd get something like that this far down the line? But
it's so
that to
good.
me is revolutionary, having it be such a good character creator,
Like,
especially being able to connect to people online too. It's just brilliant. It's so
I
good.
would honestly be a little mad if that isn't the Mii creator in like the Switch 2. Like, I feel like it should be.
Mm.
It's that good.
No, I completely agree. Port it over
Mm,
directly because it's so
yeah.
impressive. It works. The gameplay is obviously quite good. You know, it's standard, but the self inserts that you can put, they're just brilliant. They're really fun. I mean, I'm a bit of a fanboy over it, but I would argue A tier.
Yeah, I like if I was like if I was thinking it for myself, I was thinking about B, but I'm not the one who played it, and I enjoyed it a lot. So I think it deserves A tier. Like, yes, it's no Xenoblade or whatever RPG wise, but it's not trying to be, and what it wants to do, it does perfectly. So I'd be more than happy to stick that in A.
Yeah, it's fun, and if A gets crowded, I don't mind throwing it downwards. But yeah, we'll keep it there for now.
Yeah, no, that's a good one. And let's move on to a game we've both played now. One of the big ones of the Switch, Mario Odyssey, which
Ooh.
I'm gonna let you go first. I think you enjoy this game a little bit more than me, Kai, if I had to guess.
Yeah, I mean, I really, really like this game. On launch, I picked it up and 100%ed it.
Hmm.
And it was fun. You know, it's like, okay, yeah, I mean, brilliant new 3D Mario game. I like how they did something new where all the 3D Mario games have a different variation of, worlds and then lots of objectives within that world. They all do it in a slightly different way.
Yeah.
And I like how Odyssey carried on that theme of like, okay, once again, you've got these worlds, and rather than having, eight objectives or something, or, two or three in the cases of Mario Galaxy, let's just let's have like 80. Let's put
Yeah.
90 moons in Sand Kingdom. And I think that's really cool just because it does allow, like, no matter which route you take, you will find a moon.
Yeah.
So I think there's a lot of freedom in how you can go about the game. And then later down the line, as years passed, I think it's a really interesting game to watch from a speedrunning perspective.
Hmm.
And I mean, I've just really enjoyed trying to beat the game in one stream. Like, it's just really fun to do. The movement is elite. The whole thing is it's just a really good experience. And I know lately, like, Mario Odyssey's been out long enough that people are starting to go, okay, can we stop pretending it was good? And I'm like, shut up, it was good. It was really
Yeah.
fun.
It was a really. I mean, it is still a really good game. I had a great time playing it, and like having all the moons. It's kind of like the Koroks and Breath of the Wild on a different level of. Sure, you don't need to get all of them. It's unnecessary, but it means that there's always something to find around every corner. And you've got to get a
Hmm.
lot of them. And it really works. It's bright and colourful. It's got so much humour in it. Like the final boss alone, that section is
Yeah, it's
incredible.
brilliant.
So it's weird one where I've never actually come back to it since launch, and I've tried once, and I couldn't really get into it again for no specific reason. So for me, like I guess I'm thinking like an A, but I would understand an S tier. I think a lot of people would put it at an S tier. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm kind of teetering between the two, to be honest.
Yeah,
That is a hard decision to make.
it's
I'm
either
gonna
high
put it at
A or
the
low
top of
S,
A tier for now, and
right?
yeah, depending on like where things shape up, I might bump it up as time goes on. But I'll keep my eye on it.
Yes, understandable. And okay, now this is a me one here. Metroid Dread. Now, would you have any qualms if I made this our first S rank game? Because for me,
that would be brazen, but I'm not
it
opposed
is.
to it.
It's just that good. Like, it is probably the most polished game I've played in terms of gameplay. It just does everything perfectly. It came out of nowhere, released in like a few months of it being announced, as Nintendo want to do, and just, bringing Metroid back after like, how long has it been since Fusion? Like 15 years or something ridiculous like that. But then doing it looking so good, having the new counter move, making Samus the most badass she's ever been. It's such a satisfying game to learn. It's one of my favourite games on the Switch, and it's even one that, speaking like speedrunning, like, I've gone back and replayed this a few times. When I was ill at the beginning of the year, I was sort of felt a bit rough and I played it and it made me feel better. It's just fun. So,
it is curing people.
Literally, curing us of the dread. So, do you mind if we put that in Sky?
Yeah, I mean, I'm cool with it. My experience was I played the demo and I was terrible at it. Like, absolutely. I literally couldn't read
It's a
the
tough one.
tutorial. I was that bad. But I fully understood that was me being bad at the game and not
Yeah.
the game's fault, really. And yeah, I mean, from everything else I've seen of it, I've actually tried to avoid watching a lot of gameplay just in case I go back to it.
Yes,
But from
makes
what I
sense.
have seen, I mean, it just looks clean. Like, it's Metroid, but it's new. It looks good. It feels good. The horror element seems really neat. So just overall, yeah, I mean, I'm okay with it. Sure.
Excellent. Let's put it up there. And then here's a new game, Kai. Pikmin 4. Where do you want to put this one?
Okay. Oh man, I mean, I thought Pikmin 4 was great in the end. I was really worried in the lead up to this game, as I mentioned on some of the podcast episodes, of some of the development. I was like, I don't know if having a dog's a good idea, and I'm not sure. I was a little anxious about the controls because I was so used to using the gamepad. But then I picked up the game in the end, and I really enjoyed it. It's really, really good Pikmin. The overworlds are nice, but then on top of that, the dungeons they have are really fun. They're really reminiscent of the difficulty in Pikmin 2 as you get near the end.
Yeah.
And overall, it was just a perfect blend of all the stuff Pikmin's done so far, as well as a ton of new stuff on top of that. By far the most polished the series has ever been. I mean, I thought it was absolutely excellent, so I would want to rate it highly, that's for sure. Where exactly? I'm not sure.
I
I'm bad
mean,
at decisions.
I really loved watching. I didn't play it, but I watched Nella do a playthrough of it, and I enjoyed it thoroughly. So I feel like at least an A would be a good fit if you agree, having played it. Like, obviously, I'll bow to your opinion.
Yeah,
then
at least
also,
an A.
But,
I'm thinking, do I say yes or not? I'm not sure.
I'll allow it if you think it. Like, yeah, I couldn't argue.
What have we got coming up?
I guess we put Mario Odyssey at the top of A. Do you think it's above Mario Odyssey?
I'll join that. I'll group it in with Mario Odyssey. Right.
Okay.
Keep an eye on it.
Fair enough. Okay then.
That's good.
Next up here, Pac-Man 99. Did you play this one, Kai?
Oh goodness. I think I did. I can't remember it though.
I feel like this is a pretty standard, like, B game. Like, it was Pac-Man and it was really fun. It worked, then they removed it for some reason. But, like, it's an arcade game, and it made the use of the 99 formula really well. Unlike Tetris, I didn't suck at it, which helped. But, it's, like, nothing mind-blowing, but it was good fun. So, I'm thinking about a low B or something, if you'd agree.
Yeah. I wouldn't. I mean, I would argue C, to be honest.
I can put it high C if you want.
Particularly impressed by it. Yeah.
I can put
okay.
high C, yeah. I'll concede that. I'm not too attached to it. I have my wins, and I think I got 3 consecutive wins one day, and I stopped playing because, like, no, I peaked. So.
Yeah. It's just one of those things. I'm not particularly interested in Pac-Man, but
Yeah,
it was fun. But I feel like Tetris was really the ace of those.
Well, let's do that then. Tetris 99. What do you think?
No. Yeah. Oh, good question for that.
I'm kind of
in the list.
like, it's a masterful like idea that's executed perfectly. I'm just not that good at Tetris, and I find it frustrating that it's really easy to lose at if you're not that good at Tetris. I'm thinking at least a B, but and you know what? Whilst we're here, I know we're sort of merging these together, but also F-Zero 99's on the list. So sort of those
Yeah, I'll stick
much
that there too.
yeah. I feel like they're both B tier games for me. Like they do what they're meant to do
I agree.
very well, and they do understand. I think they do actually fit better than Pac-Man 99. They're more of a natural fit in the 99 formula. Surprisingly so with F-Zero. But what do you think?
I would actually say, yeah. I mean, Tetris 99. I'm gonna say like how B tier sound.
Yeah.
And then F-Zero also B tier, but above, because I actually
Yeah.
really thought F-Zero 99 was great. The amount of, I mean, it fit the 99 theme perfectly, of course, like all the other games. But it didn't just do the same thing of, oh, you are on this board and everyone else is doing the same thing and might harm you. The fact that they put everyone onto the same race course and it's a 99 player race, I think is amazing. Like that to me is an incredibly good idea, especially to do with the classic F-Zero formula. The only thing that held it back is that private lobbies weren't available till like 3 months into the game's development, I think.
Yeah.
That
was
release,
annoying.
I should say. But outside of that, like, I mean, I thought this was a perfect idea for a game, and much like 1-2-Switch, it achieved everything it set out to do. So I rate F-Zero very highly. It's just, again, small scope, so it can only go so high up.
I also nearly forgot Mario 35. I think that's B tier also, maybe low B tier, but I think it worked really well.
35, oh yeah.
Too bad they killed it, but
I didn't like this one for two reasons. One is that they killed it, but then
yes.
also the fact that so I'm used to playing Mario Maker, which I'm sure we'll get to.
Yeah.
The original Mario Bros. Physics are not used in Mario Maker. They are reused, the original physics, in this game in Mario 35. So I really struggled to get to grips with the controls, and I lost very easily a lot of the time.
I mean,
so
if
it
you
was frustrating to play.
if you want to put it high C tier above Pac-Man 99, I'll do that if you want.
Yeah, as soon as I can find it, because I can't find it in this list for some reason.
It's a bright yellow one, and it's got like the Mario
Bright
logo.
yellow.
But yeah,
I'll
it's
keep
got
on
big
the lookout for
35
it.
in the top right. Yeah.
Oh yeah, there you go. Got it.
Sweet.
It was Super Mario Bros. That's why.
Oh yeah, that's how they get you.
Okay, neat.
Well,
That's done.
Well, next up, let's go with here we go. Clubhouse Games, Kai. I know you've played a lot of this one,
Oh yeah. Okay, I've got.
and I have
plenty of
not.
hours in it.
So yeah, Ludo
I
alone.
tried to.
I mean,
Yeah, in my natural state, I have tried to 100% Clubhouse games. I don't
mad.
think I have, but I got pretty close. I'm now the number one Ludo player in the world. Yeah. No.
I believe it.
Yeah. I mean, it's fun. Based on the 42 Clubhouse games or whatever you want to call it from the DS. As a bit of background, that was one of my favorite and most played DS games when I was younger.
Yeah.
I adored that game. So the fact that like 15 years later it's like here's a sequel, crazy to me.
And
Like,
online
I
and that
don't
with the
think I've
Switch
fully
now. So
internalized it. Yeah, like on the Switch and all of that. It didn't bring all the games over because like I'll be honest, half of them were boring card games. But it brought over a load of interesting things, added in some new interactive ones like the toy series. I mean, I think it's once again it does the job of like within its scope, it does everything it needs. The online is really quick and easy to use. You've got some really fun stuff on there. Yeah, like I say, it achieves everything it wants to. So I'm very happy with the game. I don't know where I drank it though.
I mean, I feel like you could. I think a B or an A. You could almost argue an A just because it's meant to be, board games brought to Switch, and it does that pretty much seamlessly. But if it's like lacking certain games you want, maybe like a high B's more in order.
Yeah, I'll put it high B just because
Yep.
I I mean, it is fun, but ultimately, once you've played some of the games, it can get boring, and like if you're not particularly interested in them, this is like
Yes.
an hour-long game. But for me personally, I thought it was very fun. I do occasionally go back to it when I don't know what to play.
Yeah, and here's an all-time classic, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, which, I mean, this is like the Switch game. It's the best-selling Switch game. And then they, out of
Mhm.
nowhere, like here, 4 years later or whatever, add more games to it, add more tracks to it, like an entire, like, 8 cups or whatever they did, like madness. Is this S tier? Like, or
I
is it
think
A tier because it's just more of what 8 did and it's not adding anything new or unique?
so. Without the DLC,
Yeah.
um, I would probably say this is like A tier.
Yes.
If you asked me a couple of years ago, I may have been so bold as to say B tier just because, I picked this up at launch because the Switch didn't have many games on it at the time,
Mm,
and
same.
I played each Grand Prix once probably, and I was like, okay, that's it. But then we started racing together, which makes it more fun. And
Yeah.
then they added, or they already as part of this game, is that they had a good battle mode, and it's like that's a game changer for me personally. I love that. And then they added DLC on top of that, which was like a whole double the amount of courses basically for free. When you add all of that in, it goes from maybe A or B to like, yeah, this is pretty polished, it's pretty damn good.
Yeah. Like, when I'm thinking, like, if S tier is like, S tier isn't just like, this is a great game, it's like the god tier of things. It's like, if we're comparing it to like other games, is it as good? Like, maybe I'm kind of veering towards like right at the top of A. But,
I'm cool with that. Yeah.
yeah. I feel like it needs all the DLC is fantastic, but I think it needed like a new gimmick or something revolutionary, or things like bring mission mode back from
Hmm.
DS or something to make it like an S tier maybe. But it's damn good
Yeah.
Mario Kart still, so can't complain.
Yeah, I'm cool with that.
Next up, I've got here Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door remaster, which I've played and I know you've at least seen the game. I I know I had
I've
kind
got
of
enough
controversial.
knowledge.
Yeah, I kind of feel like it's a B. I feel like lots of people would say A, but I think it has. And the remake, it looks fantastic. It makes loads of smart improvements, but it's too inherently flawed a game with its backtracking for me to want to put it higher than like mid top B. What do you think in regards to that? Would I offend too many people or?
I mean, I think the fact that it is a remake does need to be looked at,
Yeah.
which is ironic considering I've got Miitopia and Mario Kart in A tier, but I digress. Yeah, no, it is like. I guess the question is how much more does it do than the original, and yeah, you need to face those issues. Um, Overall, the game is very solid. It's
Yeah,
got good RPG mechanics. It's one
definitely.
of the classics in terms of RPGs now, just in terms of what it achieves and how enjoyed the story is. The backtracking is of course an issue. Um, I don't know. I would almost maybe want to put it in the same place as Miitopia. Kind of falls into the same category in a way.
I would
I
be
think
willing to
that
put it there.
Miitopia, yeah, I think maybe that sort of area like low A.
Low A. I think I could put it low
Doesn't
A.
do
Yeah,
much.
that would be cool with me.
Yeah, we could do that. All right,
Now,
cool.
on the Mario train here, did you played Super Mario Party, didn't you, Kai?
Yeah, I 100% did that one as well. You're noticing a
I
theme
never,
here.
I haven't touched it, so it's all you this one. I haven't even watched it.
Super Mario Party. It's fun. Um, I guess in terms of the good stuff, is it has some interesting side modes, such as like a four-player co-op mode.
Hmm.
The 2v2 mode is brilliant.
Yeah.
It basically transforms the board into a grid, and you can move quite freely through that grid. So it adds a little bit more strategy in terms of the way that you move and space out with your partner. So I
Yeah.
would argue it probably has the best 2v2 mode in the series. On top of that, yeah, even all the other side modes are great, and there's a really easy way to track progress with it, which I think is good. Like, it's not a difficult one to 100%.
Hmm.
So that's all really good about the game, and on top of everything else, the having unique dice for each character, and being able to like bring allies into the game was the key mechanic of this one. And I thought custom dice was very, very interesting. Just the way that you can be like, okay, well, I sort of would prefer these sets of numbers, so I'll go for this, or oh, I'll risk it with DK's dice that has loads of tens and zeros on it. It did a lot of good, despite the fact that it's very easily overlooked.
Yeah. What are you thinking?
Yeah, the issue is it only has, and I need to make sure I'm getting the facts right, but I'm pretty sure it only has 4 courses, stages.
Yeah.
And the 4 that they have are good, you know, they're fine, but they do get old incredibly quickly. And, you know, the whole idea was, oh, I'm sure they'll release more as time goes on, because only having 4 for the whole game is kind of crazy. And that's where the game falls flat, is the core mode actually just gets super boring. And it's only a couple of the side modes that are worth revisiting more than once.
Yeah, I can see that. You thinking like a B or C?
I'm thinking a B. I still think it's fun. It's just not as fun as some other bits. Actually, I'll put it high C. I'll put it high C with Pokemon Sword.
Well, on that note then, I'm thinking next we've got Mario Party Superstars, which I did play, and we've played together, in fact, on the channel. Just don't remind me of that specific game. But I think that's... I was thinking like low B for that. I think that makes the right steps in feeling like fun classic Mario Party, but it lacks like the amount of boards to like have... If it like kept getting like more support, which we thought it might do, then maybe it'd be a little higher, but then there's like, screw it, we're making another Mario Party apparently next year, or end of this year. So, I don't know, do you think Superstars is like a low B or B somewhere?
I guess if I was to compare it to Super, the core game is better, and having online is obviously huge. I know Super Mario Party technically has online now, but it was so
a bit late
on.
So
yeah, boards are better, multiplayer's better, minigames, I don't know, minigames are alright both ways. Super Mario Party definitely wins on the unique mechanics.
That's true.
Having your allies and your dice in your side modes, that definitely wins. But overall, in terms of approachability, I think Superstars is marginally better. I probably wouldn't put it A tier though. I don't think it does enough to be A tier.
No, I think low B
so
is what
B.
I was thinking. Yeah.
Yep.
Let's slow it in. Splatoon 2. I didn't play this one, Kai, but I know you did again, so let's see what you think.
Now, this one's kind of crazy to me, because this doesn't really hit me yet with any of the other games, but you've mentioned Splatoon 2, and I was like, I was thinking that, wait, that's the current console? Splatoon 2 came out on the current console? That feels like it came out 10 years ago now.
Yeah, I mean, we'll rank 3 as well whilst we're here, but yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah. That's gonna be very interesting. So Splatoon 2. So you've played a bit of? Did you play 3? I can't remember.
I've got 3. I've got 3 and
played single
2.
Player, right?
Yes, yeah, and 2 I didn't play at all, except the beta or whatever they did. That's about it. But I mean, Splatoon's great.
Okay.
It's hard to compare them though, isn't it? Because 3 kind of doesn't do a lot different. It kind of just polishes up 2. But do you rank 2 better because it was a bit more special at its time? Or is 3 technically the better game, but because it so builds closely off of 2, does it deserve to be lower? Like, it's kind of where do you angle yourself on that debate is the interesting part here.
That is a good question, yeah. I mean, I guess to start with 2, I mean, it's a very good improvement upon the first game, for a start.
Yes.
Does a very good job of introducing some new things. You know, this was the introduction of Salmon Run, which was great.
Yeah.
And in terms of its release cycle, I guess this isn't as important for a lot of people, but Splatoon 2 had a lot better of a release cycle, whereas Splatoon 3, like, in its quarterly updates, has significantly less content. And I feel like, I don't know, Splatoon 2 did a lot of really good things that I enjoyed. But at the end of the day, Splatoon 3 is the better game. It has better story, the gameplay is like quite improved. Just overall, it does a lot more good. But ultimately, both are fun. And yeah, even though I don't play either anymore, I mean, I have a lot of hours in these both combined, probably about 500.
I,
Um,
I feel
yeah.
like they deserve A, like at least A, for their just
Yeah,
they're very
I
unique on the
think
Switch.
Splatoon 2 I would put at the bottom of A tier.
Yep,
Splatoon 3, I'm gonna put below the ones that we're considering to put in S, like Pikmin and Mario Odyssey. I'd put it
yeah,
below those games, but above
understandable.
things like Paper Mario and Splatoon 2.
Yeah, yeah, that sounds about right to me. I'm happy to go with that. And
Mhm.
let's balance out the list a little bit here. Do you mind if I put Yoshi's Crafted World in D tier? No arguments.
I have zero interest in this game, so it's all you.
It's it's fine, but it's just I mean I hate to use the term, but it's the definition of mid. Like it's and I feel like if this was if we were ranking these like this is all relevant to the fact these are all games we've played and at least kind of like if we were including like garbage shovelware in here, then it wouldn't be D tier, it would be like C tier at least. But relative
Hmm.
to the games we're ranking, it's fine, but it's nothing. So I think D tier is where it belongs. Um,
I mean, I'm cool with that. I
yeah.
do generally have a bit of a weird thing in my head about a lot of these platformers,
Mm.
especially as more and more indie platformers are becoming a big thing now. I like platformers, things like Mario
Oh
Wonder,
yeah.
which we'll get to eventually. I really enjoy them as games. I like playing platformers, but sometimes it just feels like there's so many different platformer games like Yoshi and the Kirby games that I just lose interest in them in a way. I mean, we'll see when we get to it if there are any 2D Kirby games, but I just don't find them interesting.
Well,
And the same applies to the
now that
Yoshi games, is I don't find them that interesting.
now that you say that, Kirby Star Allies, I'm also going to put in there. I think that deserves a low C. I think it's a kind of it's similar. It doesn't do anything unique, but it did get some really good like free DLC support where they added loads of other playable characters, which were really fun to like mess around with from like the entire series.
Okay,
So I think that pushes it up to C tier. It's a good game, but it's nothing mind blowing. If you're cool with putting that there.
okay, that's
And
cool. I put it in C tier, yeah.
yeah, and let's go to the opposite end of the spectrum. Kai, do we just put all the Xenoblade games in S tier? Like, I feel like we
We're
do.
getting it out of the way. Yeah, I was
I,
waiting for that.
I feel like we just
Yeah,
put them
go
all
on
straight
then.
there. I mean, look, again, we're not. I should mention this earlier. We're sort of putting them vaguely, like in the tiers, like roughly towards the top or bottom. We're not ranking them individually because that's hard to do, especially with Xenoblade.
Yeah.
Like, which is your favourite game depends what I'm in the mood for. But they're all S tier. Like, we're a bunch of jokers. We couldn't do anything otherwise. So,
Yeah. It's
kind
sort
of
of
a
a brand
given.
name, isn't it?
Exactly. I feel like it's understandable. Um, okay, so let's go back to Mario here and go back to the platformers. Mario Maker 2. What are your thoughts on that,
Ooh,
guy?
okay.
Because it's a really good game. I'm thinking it's like an A tier, but
Um, until Wonder came out, I was worried for the series because I saw Mario Maker 2 come out and I thought, this is so polished
mm,
that there is no motivation to make another 2D Mario game again.
yeah,
I was like,
yeah,
this might be the end of the series because Mario Maker 2 is so good at giving players creativity. There will be nothing else. So I really like it. I mean, obviously, it's an extension of Mario Maker 1, which had a load of creativity. Like, that was a great engine in terms of making stuff. And Mario Maker 2
mm,
has just added on to that, basically. Added
pretty
things
much
like slopes, revolutionary, I know,
game changer. Yeah,
as well as some other bits. Things like the Course World Maker that they added in afterwards, I thought was really
yes,
cool.
yeah,
So overall, I mean, I think this does great things in terms of giving an engine for players to make things. I think, ironically, I've actually gotten back into watching Super Mario Maker 2 videos in the last couple of
oh
weeks. I've
yeah,
watched like 5 of them today. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm really on board with this game, and I do think like it does go under the radar because it was a sequel.
mm,
But I really, really rate this game.
yeah. I'm thinking it's got to be like highish A. It's sort of where I'm putting it at.
I was going to put it
Like,
next to Splatoon 3.
yeah, yeah, that's fine by me. Like this is just it does what Mario Maker did but it just improves it in basically every way. It's still, every now and then I'm bored, I'll just go on and I'll find some like Kaizo kind of style levels to just mess around in and have fun with. There's the music levels people create. There's our own levels we've made, which are sometimes cursed, sometimes great, depending on who you ask. But or even when our friend Kyle kept making like levels for each of her things she was writing, and I just randomly went through and tried to get the speedrun record in all of them, and was finding different ways to get it. Just I don't know why. It was a fun though. Like it's just a fun game. Like I like yeah, right at the top of A. I think Splatoon 3 is deservedly so. Yeah.
Yeah, super fun game, and it's a shame that I think you're not allowed to publish levels anymore. But there was a really cool thing people were doing. I could be getting this wrong. Maybe they were talking about the first game, but I think it was the second, where you can't publish levels anymore. So people went on a hunt to clear every single level.
That was the first one.
That
was
existed
Mario Maker
online.
1.
Was
Two's
that the
still
first
going.
game? Okay.
Yeah. But that's still awesome,
it's
isn't it?
still a very cool story. Yeah, it's like,
Yeah.
man. I mean, when they do it for Mario Maker 2, then that'll be cool. That'll be very cool.
Yeah, and Mario again. Mario RPG, the remake on Switch. Like, I think it's comparable to. I don't really have too much to say. It's just a really good remake. Like, I think it's better than Thousand Year Door, to be honest. Like, I think it's a bigger visual upgrade. I think they make smarter changes in some ways. It's got so much personality to it. Like, I think maybe like right next to it, Thousand Year Door, but just above it in A tier, if you're cool with that.
Yeah, I've not got much to say about it, so I'm cool with
Yeah.
that.
Just, the remix of like Gino's Forest Maze alone, like, yeah, that deserves it. But
Nice.
okay, here's a huge one then. Two huge ones: Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom.
Ooh.
Like, Breath of the Wild at least has got to be an S, right? And it is the game of the Switch. I think I agree. Like I think I struggled a bit more with Tears of the Kingdom, having some problems with it in like, and it didn't hit the same heights with it being so built off of Breath of the Wild. But at the end of the day, it's a fantastic game, and the things you can do with like the what do you call it? The hand ability and fusing things together and creating things is insane. So I think they do both deserve S. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Like, yeah, I think from when we had our discussions about this, is that Breath of the Wild does win in terms of, being the original to create this world and having a far better story and premise. But gameplay-wise, I mean, Tis the Kingdom, with every device you can make and all the different creativity is unrivaled. So they both do like different things perfectly, both very deserving to be in S tier.
Yes.
I think, can I just say, like, off the bat, we probably won't order S tier especially, just because they're all
it's
like,
too difficult.
they're all masters of their own craft, you know what I mean? They're all masters of their own craft, so you can't order them.
Very true. And on that note, Kai, are you happy to put Smash Bros. Ultimate in S tier as well? Because, dear Lord,
no question.
It is ultimate. Like, how Sakurai managed it, having everyone is here, that reveal. I'm kind of sad we weren't doing the podcast back then for reactions, because I was freaking out for sure. Like, it's the ultimate Smash Bros. Game. It's as simple as that, isn't it?
Yeah, there's not much else to it. Just bringing everything together, making it so polished. Just so much music, characters, unique moves, the modes, spirits, and then even the DLC. The one thing that sticks out in my mind with the DLC was not only the wildness of some of these characters, but a specific moment was when they announced Steve, and it's like, oh my god, Steve. But then, as he was going through the gameplay demonstration, he was like, look, we had to redo every single stage in the game just to adhere to his material collecting system.
Yeah.
And obviously it's not like an impossible job to do that, but I was thinking you didn't need to do that, and you chose to anyway. And I think that speaks for the entire game in terms of how much effort was put into it. So I would have liked a story mode that would have made it double S tier, but as it stands, it's still very deservingly S tier.
Yes, definitely. And next I'll go over to Metroid Prime Remastered, which is one just I've played. And this may be a little low for other people, but I'm thinking like high B tier. I think it is like an incredible looking game. Like, in terms of remaster, like the visual upgrade, when people say like this just like looks like how I thought it looked back in the day, like no, this does not look anything like I thought original Prime looked. It's incredible, and it's a great game. I do think the reason I can't put it in A is I think I noticed more parts of the game that haven't aged so well in terms of like the map design and how it leads you about and things being misleading that I think they had the opportunity to fix in the remaster that they didn't. So I don't think I can put it above a B, but I mean it's a game that's reputation speaks for itself. Are you cool with Metroid Prime in high B?
Yeah, where do you want it compared to like Bayonetta, Animal Crossing, Luigi's Mansion?
I think I would say personally above most of those, maybe below Animal Crossing-ish, but
Okay.
probably above most of those if you're cool with that.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, sounds good. Again, just not one I have much knowledge on, so I'm cool with that.
Yeah. Well, let's go to one that you do have knowledge on in Kai. In fact, I'm wondering what you're going to say here. Triangle Strategy, because I know you love
S
this
tier.
game. I'll allow it. Like, I put Dread in
This
S
is
tier,
my
so
one.
yeah.
You've got Dread. This is my one, and I'm not gonna do this for any other game.
No,
But
it's fair. I'm.
that's my
I thought you
one
might.
take.
No. Yeah, that's understandable. Like, it looks good, and I do want to maybe get to it one day, or at least I need to try the updated demo. I owe it that much at least. But yeah, I will
Yeah,
concede
I
this
want to
one.
make
Like,
clear that this game is only S tier for like an incredibly slim margin of people in this world that it clicks with your brain. If it clicks with your brain, this is like an unrivaled game in terms of quality. And then for like 99% of other people, it's like, yeah, it's cool, or maybe a little bit complicated or like, boring.
mm,
Um, so so this is a pure personal pick. If I was, let's say I was speaking on behalf of like a wider group of people, then realistically I would put this somewhere in the middle of A tier, maybe around like Astral Chain and Splatoon.
yeah.
But no, this is my one gimme, so I'll take it.
No, understandable. Like I said, I got Dread, you got your Triangle Strategy. It's only fair, deservedly
Cool.
so. But next up then, 3D All Stars. Where do you think about this? Because it's just a collection of ports, and it's nothing more than that. But it's good to have. Like I
Yeah.
maybe B. I feel like B. It's B for basic. It's basically that. Maybe.
If we were looking at this in the case of like sort of an isolated, oh, where would you rank 64, Sunshine, and Galaxy combined on a list of games?
Yeah.
Like, if you were to frame it like that, I feel like a lot of people would go, "Oh, that's an easy S tier because those are three of the greatest, 3D platformers of all time, right?"
Yeah. Well, first of all, they're wrong
But
because
yeah.
Sunshine sucks. But continue.
But no, I do kind of see what you mean with like, if we sort of take away the fact that they are three incredibly good games and sort of realize it's these three games and they've just slapped them all into one thing, then I
Yeah.
probably would rate it a little bit lower. It's a very interesting one with that, like,
It
depending
is.
on how you look at it, this could be a S tier or a C tier, depending on how you decide to interpret this list.
That's kind of why I'm
So
thinking like
I don't
middle
know.
going for B is about right, but unless you want to put it
Yeah,
different.
I mean, I'm cool with that. I might throw it in next to like Metroid Prime and stuff.
Yeah, that's
It's
cool with
very,
me.
very abstract though to decide.
It is, yeah, and like it did make, smart changements. It made like Galaxy and that in widescreen, I believe, which is cool, and Sunshine,
Mm.
so it did make some cool changes. It's just at its core it's a collection of all three. Also, it deserves to go down a tier for that stupid limited release thing. So there we go.
That was weird. Why did they do
It
that? Did we
was.
ever find out?
I don't know. Nintendo got a Nintendo, I suppose.
That's so
But
weird.
I'm going to fill out the D tier here. I've got one more that I think belongs there, and that is WarioWare Move It, which
Ah.
it's the thing is it's a fine game, like, but it took me like 4 hours to beat it, and I can't complain about a short experience if it's good. If it's something like a short hike I beat in like 4 or 5 hours, loved it. Like if that was on here, that'd be an A tier for me. But it's just it was that long, and it was too much of a mixed bag. Where some of the mini games just felt like they didn't work as well with the motion controls as the Wii one did, you know. Both in terms of the motion controls not being as intuitive, but also in terms that I found some of the games themselves, they felt like they needed a little bit more understanding. The whole idea of WarioWare is it's quick. Within the span of 5 seconds, you see what you have to do, and you intuitively know how to do it, despite never seeing it before, right? Like, that's what the series is built on. Too many of them felt like you needed to, like, sit with them for, like, at least 20 seconds or so to understand what it was asking of you. It just didn't have that intuition in them, even if they were fun. And that can kill a game like this. So whereas I think it's fine, I think it being so short and so mixed means, like, it has to fill out the D tier for the sake of this list, in comparison to everything else. If you don't mind me putting it there, Kai.
Yeah, I'm cool with that. It's a shame because, of course, like, successor to Smooth Moves got a lot of
Yeah,
potential there. The Joy-Con control is better than ever. Like, so much potential with it. And it's a shame, really, that it ended up like that. I've not heard anything about this game since it came out, so I'll take your word for it.
yeah, like, that's the thing, it kind of just fell at... It's not atrocious, and I had fun with it, but was it worthwhile... I mean, I got it bought for me as a present. Would I think it's a worthwhile spend of my money? Probably not. So, it's fine, but yeah, in comparison to everything else we're putting here in, like, C tier and that, I think D is where it belongs.
Cool.
But let's move on to another big one, actually. Fire Emblem Three Houses. I mean, this is the big game of the Fire Emblem series for the Switch. It got me into the series for the first time. Like, A tier? You think?
Fire Emblem Three Houses. I mean, in terms of the
Yeah.
scale of the game, I can definitely see a lot of people saying S tier.
I almost... yeah.
Yeah.
Part of me is drawn towards, like, just for how fun it is at its core. Like, it got me to love this kind of genre, which I'd never really tried before. It's the way it lets you play it any way you like and that, but I think it lacks in a few areas. I think some of the routes are better than others. Some bits do get repetitive, and things like, it's not like visually the best game on the Switch, which it will prove on we'll get to engage in just after this, actually. Or at least I will. But I'm thinking it has to be high A tier just for how much I loved playing it. But I don't know. What
Should we put it in the potentially leaning into S tier group
Yes, I think that's fair.
with
Like,
Mario Odyssey and stuff? I'm
I
cool
think
with
it's
that.
up there with that. Yeah, that's a good level for it, I think. Where it's
Yeah,
like,
I was also very impressed with it. It's a very good game, and obviously I have a leaning towards tactical RPGs.
yeah,
Yeah, I think it did a lot of really good stuff. The amount of customization in the game is kind of underrated, like being able to have so
True.
many characters be so many classes. I can now tell from a personal experience of coding that is hell. It is so much more complicated to sort out than every other Fire Emblem game. So I do appreciate it for that and what it does do. But yeah, I agree, it does lack in some areas, but I really, really rate it highly overall. So yeah, I'm cool with putting it in that group.
agreed. And I'm next up is Engage, which I obviously you haven't played yet, have you, Guy? If I remember correctly.
Correct.
But
Yeah.
I think it makes improvements. Like, visually, this is a beautiful looking game. It has so much, like, the presentation in terms of not just visuals, but like the UI and everything is top notch. Gameplay improvements, easily refined. I think the gameplay is better and more creative than Three Houses, but it just lacks that something special that Three Houses had. I think the whole Academy angle of it, the 5-year time skip, and all it did with that, it gave Three Houses this kind of special feeling, which Engage just feels like it's Fire Emblem, and it's gameplay wise, it's pretty peak Fire Emblem, but it's not that level. So I think maybe low, like the opposite end of A, basically, towards the end, like down with like Splatoon
Yeah,
2 and
put it
whatnot,
with,
if you're cool with that.
yeah, I'll put it with those. I'm cool with that. Yeah, that's no problem.
Next up then, well, oh no, we're on the Fire Emblem train, here we go. Fire Emblem Warriors, but the original one. Did you play this?
No.
Okay, I'll tell you, it's bottom of C tier. Like, it's fine. It's a fun Warriors game, it makes improvements, but every character plays... There's too little classes. Like, half the characters play exactly the same, and it's kind of basic. But it's still Warriors and it's still fun, so C tier. Like, bottom C, I think.
Okay. I'm cool with
But
that.
this is an interesting one because you're in the process of playing this one. Fire Emblem Warriors Three Hopes.
It
Now
is
we're
still
getting a bit.
sitting in its box, which is
Oh,
now like in its thing, which is sealed for me. So I'm
that's
getting
right. So
there.
you're about to, yeah, not started it.
Yeah,
You're on the verge of playing it, is what I meant.
I
Yes,
played the demo part of it, so that's it.
that's true. I think this is A. Like, it's a really clever translation of Three Houses over to the Warriors gameplay. It like all the things I complained about in the original Fire Emblem Warriors, they are fixed here. Characters feel unique enough, but have that customization where you can make them any class. But they all have a unique move that makes it so they're still themselves. And the story, like the fact they did 3 routes for a Warriors game as well, was kind of mad. I've only done one, but
Yeah.
it like, and not just that. I think it's really smart in like how it takes the opportunity to expand upon things that didn't get that much depth in the original Fire Emblem. Like having Host as a character, is great.
Hmm.
That's mentioned in the original game, but and there's a few others I believe it does that for. I don't think they were all advertised, so I won't say everything. But not only that, like it gives other characters more depth. Like it really, I play Golden Deer's route, and like they did lots of really great stuff with Lorenz, who was sort of like a kind of an annoying character in the first game, but I really loved everything about him in this game. I think this is up there on the level with Three Houses, to be honest. Like I put it up the top of A with next to Three Houses, or at least just behind it, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, I'd agree with that from what I've seen. Like, it does seem to be really interesting in how it's like, look, Three Houses made this huge world almost too big for itself to handle.
Yeah,
Because you notice in some places in Three Houses, like, they made the world so big that you can kind of get lost in how everything works and the politics side of things, despite how impressive it is. So this really helps to like fill in some of those gaps, like you say. So yeah, I'm happy to put it like directly below if
yeah.
you want.
Let's put it there. And you
Okay.
know what? I'll try to be a little quicker here. We are near the end. We're approaching an hour.
Okay.
So let's speed this. And Dragon Quest 11S is only I've played. Well, yeah, actually, you played 10 hours of this, Kai. I mean,
Yeah. I
technically
have
speaking,
something to say, I suppose.
it's a really it's a classic RPG, but it's a classic RPG that doesn't feel out of date. It doesn't feel outdated. It does everything very traditional, but has enough like quality of life improvements that it still feels great to play today. I low A. Are you okay with a low A?
Yeah, I'm cool with that.
Let's slot
I'll
it in
stick
there.
it right next to the other RPGs, I suppose.
Yeah, they're building up there. But okay. Did you play Skyward Sword Remaster, the Skyward Sword HD?
No, I didn't play that.
I'm gonna say top of B tier. I love Skyward Sword. Like I would put Skyward Sword easily at least in A, but I have to be realistic that A's getting kind of crowded, and as a remake, it makes like no improvements other than its HD. So, and
Right.
a few bits it tidies up a bit of quality of life, but I'd say high B if you don't mind.
Yeah, I'll put that there, no problem.
Okay, Octopath 2, Kai.
Yes.
This is all you. Well, it says
where
Octopath
we have the visual for Octopath 1,
Yes.
but we mean Octopath 2.
because they
We've
didn't
not
have
played
both.
Octopath
And
1.
exactly, yeah. So another one you've played. What do you think, Kai?
Um, maybe crazy of me, but yeah, I think this is potentially S tier, or if not, then in that group that is kind of teetering in the middle.
I will.
It just
Yeah.
does everything that an RPG should. Like the characters are all great. You've got all these cool stories, the worlds, the music, like everything connects really, really nicely. And this is above pretty much every other RPG in my eyes. The exception being, triangle strategy, which is a different kind of thing. But I personally rate this above all the other RPGs we've looked at so far.
I can put it in S if you want. Like I only played the demo, but and to be like I played the demo of Octopath 1, wasn't that interested. I liked a lot of it, but I was like, this doesn't feel like it's for me. I expected the same of 2, but I thought I have some time, I'll try the demo, and I loved it. I was like, oh, take it back. I need to play this someday. So if you want to put it in S, I will. I don't mind. Like
I'm gonna
I'm cool with
say
that.
very,
Unless you want to
very
put it
top
higher.
of A tier.
Yep,
because it has
yep.
random encounters.
Okay, fair enough. Yep, understandable.
Let's do that. I think that's the one thing that you might want to bring it down on as well, if you
No,
had
I
played
would
it.
agree
So
there.
let's do that.
Even Dragon Quest XI didn't have random encounters. I mean, come on, Noctopath. But
Yeah,
let's. Okay, I'll go for one that I don't believe you've played. Kirby and the Forgotten Land.
you would be
And
right.
like, maybe I'm tripping here, but I think this deserves like low A tier. Like, it is just for like
Okay.
it does. It's the first like proper entry into 3D for Kirby outside of some sort of half steps, and it just does everything masterfully. It has really fun boss fights. It adds like a dodge mechanic with a the sort of the slow mo parry thing like Breath of the Wild basically, and it's surprisingly
That's
really
cool.
great in execution. Also, the music alone, it goes places. So I kind of, yeah, I think I couldn't put it any lower than A really if you call it that.
No, yeah, I'll put it low A tier. I think it's fine from what I've seen. You know, it's like you're sort of a cool 3D explorer, sort of expanding upon what 2D Kirby tends to do. You've
Yeah,
got the mouthful mode as the new mechanic, and it seems like what it does do is really cool. Um, but you know, again, it's like some things like that can be stunted in how far they can really go.
yeah, and I guess the last one I have that's just a me game is Link's Awakening HD. I don't think you played this one.
No, I didn't. Although I would like to one day.
Yeah, it's good. Like, it's either low A or high B. It's a really solid port of the original game. The visual style looks great, and obviously they're using it for the new game, which is awesome. So it's cool, and I do think, as well as just being is ultimately a remaster, it also has some problems with performance, which is kind of a bit odd given
Okay.
it's such a simple game at its core. So I think maybe right at the top of B. I think I'll put it there just to maybe just to
Yeah,
balance
I
out the
agree with
tiers.
that.
You've got to draw the line somewhere, but I think it's pretty safe there.
Yeah, no worries. I'll put that there.
And two games left we have here, a Zelda and a Mario game, at least that I've spotted. We'll skim over in case you missed anything. But Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity. What are you thinking, Kai?
I mean, I really liked Age of Calamity. I've
Same.
played it, I think like 2.5 times through now,
Yeah, yeah.
something like that. Um, yeah, I mean, it's really fun. It is your classic Warriors. You know what you're going to get kind of when you go into it, but the list of characters is nice. The music is really good, as all of
Oh,
the
so great.
Warriors games tend to be. It
Yeah,
just follows on with like how the Warriors games generally are really good, except for the original Fire Emblem Chronicles. But lately they've been great.
they have.
Um, yeah, where would I put this? I
It's
want
got
to
to be
say
A,
like
hasn't it?
yeah, I'm thinking around the realm of where Splatoon 3 and Astral Chain are at, maybe.
Yes, yeah, I think that's a fair point. It does a lot good, but it does. There are problems, like especially if you're going for 100%, certain later runs get grindy and obnoxious. It has some problems, and performance obviously is a big one. But
Yeah.
yeah, I think it's still a great game. So I think sort of that sort of middle to lower A tier, that kind of that's good for me.
Mhm.
And last but not least, because it's definitely better than Yoshi's Crafted World, Super Mario Bros. Wonder, the big 2D Mario game to release recently. We both played it. We've done we've done videos of it on the channel before. It's really fun. Whereabouts are you thinking?
Um, yeah, that's a good question, Mario Wonder. Let me bring it up here, wherever it might be. I mean, I think it does really good. I was very
It's
impressed with the
good.
game in terms of all the creativity it has. It is limited in that there are only so many levels that exist in the game, but the ones that are there are really good. It's really approachable. The online is kind of unfortunate, but everything else about it, I think, is incredibly impressive.
It's good. Like it's a weird one where like I love its like visual style especially, and its visual presentation is so good. Like it deserves like its reputation. I did think look, it's one of those that looking back on it, I don't think about it as positively as I did at the time. Where I feel like some elements, such as every level basically boils down to here's you get your wonder flower and some weird gimmick happens. In some ways, I almost feel like it takes away from the core essence of the platforming in some regards, where it's just here's a bunch of weird stuff happening. and the level changing. So again, it's still a fantastic game, and I think it was the right decision to make. If I was being personal here, I think I would put it in B tier, but I understand why people would put it in S tier even. So if you want to say A, I can definitely be convinced, even if B is where I'd probably put it personally.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough, right? I think I agree. Funnily enough, one of my biggest complaints with it, which I think is purely a personal thing, that I also feel about Mario Strikers Battle League, is the game's too zoomed in. If you
Yeah.
go back and see how zoomed out the Wii game is, you'll be like, wow, there's so much more room to work with on the screen to do like big jumps and stuff. But no, I mean, I think Wonder's great. I would put it right in the middle of A tier. I've distributed A tier into A plus, normal, and minus, just because we had so many in there and it balances out a bit nicer.
No, yeah, that's fair. Yeah.
But yeah,
Do you want?
I thought it was great.
Do you want to meet in the middle then and put it like minus A tier, like sort of lower A tier?
Yeah, I'm okay
It's
with that. I'll stick it in there with some of the RPGs
yeah.
and bits.
It's one where it's just one where I really enjoyed it when I played it, but I don't think about it. Since playing it, I don't really think about it anymore. It's sort of like, and it's a short game, of course, so it came and went, and I don't really think much beyond that. But I can't deny how good it is, especially giving it that personality that the new games were lacking, and yeah, it's deserving of A. I think that's fair.
Okay,
But
that's cool. I've stuck it in there.
But that is everything. Now, Kai, do you spot? Bearing in mind also there's DLCs in this list, but we sort of just merged them into the game just to save on time and that. Is there
Yeah, they
anything
don't
else that you want to that I missed that you've seen that you've played, or do you think that's about it? I think I got everything I know you've
I'll
played.
go through
but,
a quick scan, yeah, just in case. I mean, there are some that I haven't played here that I'm familiar with, like Game Builder, Garage, and bits, but again, I won't bother ranking them on the most part. What I am going to do is
Yeah.
I'm going to put Battle League in D tier because I have a vendetta against it.
just
ruining
for
the
that
series.
demo we played. Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. Just looking through the rest of it.
Understandable.
Yeah, go on.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm pretty. I mean, my list might be slightly different to yours. Obviously, we're doing them vaguely enough, but I'm pretty happy with where everything lies personally. Like, I'm looking at this, and I don't. Even the games that we put at the top of A tier that can teeter into S, I think keeping S as like it is the god tier level. It's games. It's the ones that if you name like your top 5 games of the Switch, they'd probably be in them. I feel like based on that, I'm happy to call it as is. But do you want to move anything up? Do you want to argue the case for something, or are you content?
I mean, I'm good with it. The only other game I've seen is I've technically played Pokemon. Where is it? Pokemon Quest, which is like a mobile. I got it on my phone because it's a mobile game and it just happened to be on the Switch as well. But I'm not going to put that on there.
Where would it be?
I mean, I'm pretty happy with this. I can quickly send you a screenshot, probably of, or I'll share my screen to you of what I've got, just so you can see it because you haven't been able to technically this whole time.
I can go over look at that. I'm definitely intrigued.
Kind of our final product here. What do you think?
You're just gonna hear me moving the mic as I move towards the laptop. Yeah, like I think. Let me just make that full screen. There we go. Yeah, I think that's good. I think that just about qualifies how I would put all of those. Obviously, it's hard to say. Some of them are tough calls, and at the end of the day, it is all subjective. But I think that generally matches like my overall opinions. And looking back at like the Switch's lifespan, like even the C tier, like Bayonetta's great game. Once we Switch, a lot of fun with it. Like what a solid 7 years the Switch has had, right? This about sums it up, really.
Yeah, it's been really good. Like the sheer quantity of games as well. Like, I'm sure there are some we played here that aren't even on this list. Quite a few
Many,
probably that we just can't think about. But
and that's not to
that
mention
on top of the third-party support and the remakes,
Yeah.
everything's been brilliant.
It has been, but the Switch successor definitely has big shoes to fill. That's for sure. But yeah, very good list. Are you cool to end it off there, then, Kai?
Yeah, I'm good with that.
But that does bring us to an end of this video. This is our definitive list ranking the entire Switch first party, second party, mild third party inclusions library. So what do you think? Do let us know in the comments below if you have any thoughts. Heck, you can share your own tier list if you want to make them. We'll have the tier list we used linked in the description below. Definitely interested to see what other people would think on this. And of course, you can find more of our content here on BunchaJokahs, on YouTube for videos, or audio-only versions on Spotify and other podcasting sites. We have a weekly podcast discussing the news of each month and what we've been playing, as well as random videos like this as well. So do stay tuned for all of that. And Kai, where else can people find you at?
Twitch.tv/Fascurreyn. I'm about to be starting Ni no Kuni 2 pretty soon, so we'll see about how that goes.
Absolutely, link in the description, so check out Kai's channel as well. And of course, thank you to our friend Sam, who does our graphic design work, our logo, our thumbnails. Thank you once again, Sam, for your hard work. And that's about it for us, so we will see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.
See ya.